We are live. What's today's date? August 24th, 2025. We're back with another live show. I am your host, Dave, a 10 plus year intellectual property attorney, dealing with everything from trademarks, copyrights, patents, as well as trade secret. And your boy feeling good today. Let me see if I can kind of pull that up. Your boy was named one of the best up-and-coming lawyers in America by the journal publication bestlawyers.com. Let me see if I can kind of pull that up here really quickly. So, hey man, this is the show, more special show than normal as relate to my my recent recognitions. Let me kind of pull it up here really quickly, and then I'll kind of get on with the show. We have a full show for you guys today, but I do want to talk about this. Kelly Burris is the owner of the firm I am a part of. She's the founder, I should say. Your boy David Spears was recognized in a 2026 Best Lawyers list for patent law. So it's getting real for your boy, man. They starting to recognize the works, which is phenomenal. I'm excited for that. So again, like I said, I'm feeling good today. I'm feeling good this week. I think that came out on like Monday or Tuesday. So I've been kind of riding this high for pretty much the whole week. So hopefully we can continue that on and have it a good show for you guys today. We got a full show for you guys lined up. We'll go through the buy it now pitch of the week, in my opinion. We'll talk about the interview of the week, which again, another buy it now show, a buy it now product from Amazon's hit show, Buy It Now on Prime Video. Then we'll get off into the current events. We got a lot to talk about with the current events. Subway look like they coming out of Russia all together. We'll talk about that. Bed Bath & Beyond. I think we're going to glean a little insight from the CEO of Bed Bath & Beyond of what really the rich people do. I don't want to say the rich people do, but the business-like people do and the entrepreneurs do as it relates to buying these brands that we all know and love. So we'll talk about that. It seems like, what's the name of the company? Cracker Barrel. They've been in the news. It's been an uproar. A lot of people have been saying they've been going woke. Hey, for those of you who don't know, I am in Detroit, Michigan, and I think Cracker Barrel started in Michigan. They looks like they didn't got rid of Uncle Herschel, and then as well as the barrel. A lot of people have kind of went up in arms about that. I'm going to give you some insights from me as to why. Kind of just pump the brakes. It's going to be all okay, and I think Cracker Barrel is in a prime position to have success long term. So be on the lookout for that when we talk about that. Let's see here, Purple Rain. It looks like Apollonia. I haven't seen the movie Purple Rain. Clearly, I am a big fan of Prince, and he has a song called Purple Rain. I think it was a song or an album. Then he came up with a movie, Purple Rain. Apollonia was his co-star in that movie. Looks like she's suing the Prince estate for trademark infringement. We're going to talk all about that. It's a lot of great insight to glean from that. And then the interview of the week, swap meet. It looks like Louis Vuitton is back in the news again for a lawsuit, trademark infringement, this time of a swap meet in Vegas. So kind of be on the lookout for that. Like I said, we have a lot of good stuff to get off into. I do want to kind of shout out a couple of things before we get started. Peace, love, intellectual property. Not sure if Brandon is still in here, but if he can kind of pin that link to the chat for the website to go catch those shirts, Peace, Love, and Intellectual Property. Please go support those shirts, purchase those shirts. I get stopped every time. So if you are a business owner, you're looking to try to get your brand out there organically. You probably don't like going up to people and kind of handing out cards and saying, hey, kind of purchase this or do that with regard to your brand. These shirts are going to get organic communication, an organic reach, so to speak, organic marketing to the people where they're going to come up to you and say, hey, what you know about intellectual property? I like that shirt. What you got going on? I get that all the time. So definitely go purchase those shirts for Peace, Love, Intellectual Property. Yeah, it seems like Brandon has put that link up there. So definitely go check out those shirts. We're going to get off into it with the interview of the week. Buy It Now. Actually, I want to go to this Buy It Now one. And this is a pretty special one, really, because this pitch that I thought, I'm going to play a video, and Amazon is probably going to strike me. They're not going to strike me, but they're going to flag this video. But I wanted to play this video from the Buy It Now, the Amazon show Buy It Now. Please, hey, you guys have to check this out. This business owner, her name is Deborah. She is actually from Waterford, Michigan. So she's in my neck of the woods. I'm in the Detroit metro area, born and raised here in Michigan. And Deborah was on Buy It Now, and she's from Waterford. And her product is what they call the fluffy trough. It's essentially a dog bowl. I think cats can use it as well to eat from, to drink from. And you guys have to check out this, man. She made $2 million from her product in like 3 or 4 years. Her and her husband now is traveling the world, or not the world, but the country in an RV. But I do want to play an important part of what she was talking about on her buy it now pitch. So you guys have to check this out. And again, this is, if I can't get my message through to you guys any clearer, then I don't know what to do. However, I think this is going to be a big part of kind of what I'm trying to get across with you guys as it relates to starting a business as well as protecting your intellectual property. So let's see here. Let me make sure. I think it's on the right one. Let's go here. I'm not sure. Shit, let me play it.
What, Jamie?
Deborah, what are your sales so far?
We've done over $2 million in sales.
Wow. $2 million in sales on her product, a simple product, $2 million. But watch what she used her money for.
Wow. You're sneaky. You're in your RV and you're
just
$2 million in sales.
So look at Jamie, the guy in the middle is the founder of Ring. Jamie, again, the guy in the middle is the founder of Ring. He was obviously on Shark Tank. I don't think he did a deal with the Shark. He got offered a deal with the Sharks, but he turned it down. He eventually sold his Ring doorbell to Amazon for $1 billion. So that's his Amazon connection. The lady to the left is, she works within Amazon. And the lady to the right, I call her the Olsen twin because she looks like the Olsen twins. She is a founder. She's a founder, but Jamie, the guy in the middle, the Ring founder, he's normally a staple, and they kind of do a round robin on the other two. But you guys have to watch this portion of this Buy It Now show and see why I stress intellectual property so much. Check out this portion. This is next level.
Yeah, keep it going slow. Yeah. That's really impressive, phenomenal.
Thank you.
How much did it cost to start the business?
I initially invested $35,000, so I was saving that money to buy a house, and Pork Chop was getting older.
Pork Chop is our dog.
I was just watching him, and I'm like, I've got to do something about this. So I got a 3D printer, and I started making some prototypes, and I saw immediate difference. So I pivoted, and I took the money for a down payment, and I used it to buy the tooling and the intellectual property.
Oh, what? Say, come again. What did you say, Deborah? What did you use the $35,000 for to start your business that's now doing $2 million? Let's play that again.
I started making some prototypes, and I saw immediate difference. So I pivoted, and I took the money for a down payment, and I used it to buy the tooling and the intellectual property to just start the process.
Wow.
There's like no branding with this.
Yes.
And I feel like there's something about branding in this that would be amazing. You know, even doing an inlay of your name in here or something, you know, in the mold.
That's a really good point.
That's really good feedback. Thank you.
Okay.
So, I mean, look, I just wanted to play that. Again, Buy It Now. This is Amazon's show. It's kind of a rival to Shark Tank. However, it's more of a gamified feel. You see JB Smooth. He's kind of more so the game show host, similar to like what Steve Harvey is to Family Feud. However, it's for businesses that's pitching their product to a live audience of 100 people. They need 10 out of those 100 to say yes, they'll buy the product, to move on to this panel of 3. And if they get 2 out of the 3 members to say yes, then they go into Amazon's exclusive Buy It Now store. But I come to you guys every Sunday live. I do these videos throughout the week, and I'm doing this for a reason. She talks about, Jamie asked her, what did you spend the $35,000 on? She bought tooling, which essentially saying she bought molds for her product, and she spent the money on intellectual property. Now, early on, you guys didn't hear it in this segment because she talked about it at the beginning, but she has a trademark for her product on Fluff Truck. She has patents on the actual apparatus as well. So she spent that money early on, not only with the tooling, but the intellectual property. So I'm telling you guys, this stuff is important. Shouts out to Deborah. She's in Waterford, Michigan, which is my neck of the woods. So I'm going to try to hit her up, get her on the platform. Her and her husband is kind of riding around the country in their RV these days. She did what I think she says $2 million in sales. So she's crushing it. But I did want to play that because, and thanks, Brandon, for putting that, the Fluff Truck, my video, my breakdown. Go check that out. Go check out the full breakdown, man. And really, all these people, the 4 pictures this week was cool. You had Rhoda Q. He was an immigrant. He is killing it. I think what he did, $1.2 million in sales. Alex, he's a little older, 43. You had Taylor, you had a young buck on there. He had this water bottle that has a charger, a speaker, as well as it kind of serves as a water bottle. He was only 24 years old, so shout out to him. And then you had these sisters that they had this essentially paintballs, throwing paintballs, and they did over $10 million worth of sales into this date. So again, you guys have to go check out all the 4 pictures that I put up or that I did release this week on those 4 kind of businesses. And the good thing is they all are different. Entrepreneurship has no limits, it don't discriminate. Like I said, Alex, he was from Taiwan. His parents sent him to the US when he was little and they stayed back. Now, I know I'm African-American. There's not too many of our parents that will send us to another country while they stayed back. I think him and his sister came to America when they were young, while the parents stayed back because they wanted a better life for their kids. Not too many of, especially our parents, is going to do that. But that goes to show you kind of the opportunity here in the U.S. So that was Alex's story. Yeah, that was Alex's story. You had Brianna and Kayla. They had Gobbles. They did $10 million essentially creating a product that throwing paint in all type of Walmarts, Costco's, Myers, whatever the case may be. So they're killing it. Rotor, now that was Rotor Q 360 with Alex. Then you had Tyler. He was 24 years old, started a business, crushing it. And then Deborah, who I just showed you, she did $2 million. So I'm not sure how much more that I can say to you guys as relates to this. I know we have a couple people in the chat. A couple people watching this. Please let me know where you're watching this from. Hey, participate, man. My billable rate is almost $400 an hour. So, hey, ask me questions in the chat. This is probably going to be your only time, at least this week, where you're going to be able to talk to an intellectual property attorney and get all your questions answered for free on trademarks, on patents, on copyrights, trade secrets, NIL. I had a gentleman who kind of reached out to me on my website a couple of days ago, and he was from Canada. And he was like, hey, man, I watch your stuff. Kudos. And actually, another person commented on one of my videos, and they want me to do these breakdown videos of Shark Tank version in Canada, which I think is called Dragon of Dens or something like that. But the guy who reached out to me, he's like, hey, man, I'm kind of trying to create this. I have this script, this movie script, and I wanted to see if I can come on and talk about it. It's like, man, look, to do an interview with me, you have to have something going on, not just kind of an ideal in your head. You have to kind of be putting work in. So, to that gentleman who reached out to me, hey, man, I would imagine do some shorts based on your script, on your movie script, to try to get it out there, try to get some eyeballs before, to try to get some eyeballs and some interest around the product. It's tough for me to just kind of bring on somebody who's doing an interview without having anything to kind of show for outside of a script in your head. And really, that's when people start to take your stuff. And next thing you know, you're crying to one of these movie kind of production companies saying that they stole my script. So yeah, again, I'm not sure, but I guess with regard to the interview of the week or the interviews, I want to play you guys the interview of the week, which was another Buy It Now product. Her name is Looky Lou. Hey, Caitlin, man, she's amazing. That interview came out, so definitely go check out that interview, that full interview. But I do want to play a snippet of the interview just kind of so you guys can know what's going on with regard to the product that she has created. Let's see if I got to do a better job at kind of teeing this stuff up. Let's see here. National Guard, YouTube. That's going to piss me off. What I learned. Okay, here we go. What I learned. It's a baby product. So it's a baby product. Let's tee it up here. Looky Lou. She was on Buy It Now, which is Amazon's hit show. Let's kind of turn this up and see what Caitlin has.
I knew there was something there that I had to scratch the itch, right? There was no stopping me.
You got to scratch the itch.
I also think just like like I said, I'm a fairly practical person, and so I just was thinking like, there's nothing on the market like this. I'm a parent. I was a user, and I don't know if you have kids, but if you like, as a young parent, you will buy whatever it is for like if another parent has it, or if it helps you for that one split second, just like all you need sometimes just make your life slightly easier and like send me the Amazon link, right? So I knew there would be like a market there, especially as like new parents. You're always trying to look for like a baby gift or like like anything just to kind of gift that new mom to make her life a little easier. And then I think it really solved a problem. Like I swear to you, Dave, like you put this in front of a 1-year-old and immediately they're like eyes on, and like how many times a day does someone try to get a photo of their beautiful, precious new baby?
We love the kids. They
all the wasted time, like jumping around. And so I promise you, if you're like, hey, look at this, they have no idea what they're looking at. If you're like, hey, roar at the lion, they know exactly what to do. So anyway, long story short, is like I kind of knew the economics of it. I knew like I can make like X, make Looky Lou for X, and I probably could sell it for Y. I work in social media with small businesses all day long. I've seen them be able to scale their spend. And then I kind of just knew it was solving a really big problem that I think was like there. I know there's a there, and I've not seen anything else like it on the market.
Man, shouts out to Caitlin on her product. I will tell you guys something. For those of you who really kind of didn't understand what Caitlin has invented, she invented this essentially a baby rattle that you see here, the orange lion. It goes on your phone so that if you have a toddler, you're trying to take a picture with them. It's tough to kind of get them to kind of look at the cell phone camera because they're like, okay, so what is this? But if you put that rattle and then you kind of twist the mane, it'll make noise, and now their attention is to the camera. You can snap that photo. So that essentially, in a nutshell, what Caitlin has invented, and she's doing good. She was on Buy It Now, which is the show that I just kind of played you guys. She was on there. She actually got onto the Buy It Now store, and she's crushing it. But I do want to, again, tell you guys an important story, and I'm letting you guys behind the scenes from our interview. A lot of times, man, when I'm doing these interviews with people, we talk for like 30, 40 minutes offline, and then I kind of try to talk to them for 45 minutes to an hour online. But with her product, Caitlin could have got a design patent on that product. However, she, again, just maybe not knowing, not communicating with, or trying to reach out to an attorney, an IP attorney, to let her know. I'm trying to, I try to provide value to the actual person that I'm interviewing so that I can help them out, and just trying to see, man, maybe we can get a design patent on it. However, she came out with the product. A year had already passed. So in the US, when you come out with a product, we call that a public disclosure, and a year had already passed before she, a year had passed, so she's essentially barred from being able to file a patent application on that. She could at least got a design patent on it. So again, it was one of those things that I tell you, well, yeah, it's past a year, so you're pretty much SOL. However, again, this is the importance of this intellectual property, and just surrounding yourself with, people, attorneys, people want to know, such as myself, who know what's going on, who can help you protect your invention to get it to the next level. Again, Caitlin, phenomenal product. She's going to do well. However, she kind of missed a boat on some of this stuff. So again, this is the importance of what I'm doing and try to help you guys out, because I want everybody to create a product. I was going back and forth on somebody from Facebook earlier today, and she was talking about how, people are tired and they don't want to work, and we're not meant to work, and kind of waste our lives slaving. And it's like, and I get that. But again, a lot of people waste how many people waste time? They watch TV 3, 4, 5 hours a day. They come home from work. They don't want to work when they at work. And then when they come home from work, they still kind of want to sit around and waste time watching TV, things of that sort, and kind of really not pouring into themselves. So kind of my thing is, hey, to the extent that you want something different, when you want it bad enough, you'll start to make some changes in what it is that you're doing. But part of those making those changes is just the knowledge, the information. That's what this channel is trying to provide, information to the masses so that you guys can start your business. That's my goal, is to help people start their business. I put some on my, I got an email. Man, let me see if I can pull this up. I don't want to kind of get too distracted from the store, what's the name, but somebody who's been following me, and she reached out to me. She's like, David, I just want to inform you how, I had introduced her to somebody who I interviewed, Lisa, and she's been working with Lisa, and she was just so thankful, and like, man, you changed my life. You're an outstanding human being. And I just wanted to kind of let you know of what's going on and kind of where I'm at this point. And then at the end of the email, she like, P.S. man, you've been consistent. You started, I found you when you had 42 subscribers. Now you at almost 4,000 subscribers, man. She like, hey, kudos to you. But the whole point of me saying all of that was, hey, again, she reached out to me. I started following the content, talked to her a couple of times. Hey, I was able to connect her with somebody else who I interviewed who's crushing it. And next thing you know, she got in that person, essentially under their mentorship, started doing some great things. I think she said she's coming out with a book and a couple other products. So, man, I want to help people change the trajectory of their life. And I think for sure, as a result of kind of my life is going to continue to get better as a result of that. So that's kind of my goal with all this stuff. So when I tell these stories of the interviews and of, the emails, the messages that I get, it's not to brag. It's really trying to say, hey, man, you got to do something different, because really AI is coming for all of us. AI is coming for all of us. In the next 5 or 10 years, this thing's going to look completely different as it relates to marketing. Even I understand that even though I have an engineering degree and a law degree, I'm not even kind of 100% safe. It's going to change how IP attorneys go about their business. That's why I'm coming out with physical products. That's why I'm coming out with digital products. That's why I'm kind of diversifying, creating media stuff, just so that I can kind of insulate myself once AI kind of comes into the legal sector in full force. And I hope that you guys would do the same. And a part of doing the same is hopefully coming out with a product and really going full steam ahead and essentially making a better what's the name for your future, a better situation for your future. So with that being said, we're gonna move on to Bed Bath and Beyond, and I got a video from the CEO of Bed Bath and Beyond that I do want to play with you guys. But as I before I play the video, I want to tee you guys up. So a lot of these companies, and again, this is what entrepreneurs, this is what business people do. And I interviewed Dr. Dave Smith, who he invented the Q collars. And I know it's NFL season coming up. And the Q collar is worn around the neck of a lot of NFL players, hockey players, soccer players, rugby players, so, name it, professionals. And he was talking about how when he first got started before the Q collar, he bought a company, bought the intellectual property of a company for essentially pennies on the dollars because they were going through bankruptcy, and he added value to it. He essentially had a big exit from that company that ultimately led to him inventing the Q collar, essentially really having a lot of money. So, again, a lot of times what business owners do and entrepreneurs do, they take these brands that we all know and love, such as Bed Bath and Beyond, who may be going through a tough time. And what they're doing, they're buying the intellectual property of that brand, making some tweaks, adding value, and next thing you know, they're kind of relaunching those brands bigger and better, and really kind of taking advantage of kind of what's going on and making a ton of money. So that's essentially what is happening. And I wanted to just tee you guys up before playing the video of the CEO talking about Bed Bath and Beyond. And I think the video was really kind of going back and forth about, I guess, California and kind of the politics with California and why Bed Bath Beyond, the CEO, said he's not going into California. But I do want to kind of talk about it because I think it's important based on what he said about intellectual property. So let me kind of go to the normal speed. Let me tee this boy up and let's go, man. Leave y'all questions and y'all comments in the comments.
Of California. And while it was a big place for business in the past for Bed Bath & Beyond, it's just too cost prohibitive. At some point, some business needs to take a stand and remind the state of California that while they keep reminding us that they're the fourth largest economy in the world,
thank you,
that's going to dissipate over time.
Thank you. And by the way, you know what Newsom says? I thought Bed Bath & Beyond filed bankruptcy. Oh, there's another one by him, but let me read this as well. After their bankruptcy and closure of every store, like most Americans, we thought Bed Bath & Beyond no longer existed. We wish them well in their efforts to become relevant again as they try to open a second store. Now, he was a little bit more direct than that. So Marcus Lemonis, when you think about him, he had a show. What was it called? The Prophet or something? I think it was called The Prophet.
The Prophet.
He's actually very good. He's very good at what he does.
CNBC.
Very fair. You know, we had an exchange once on X, and then I don't know what happened afterwards, but he actually has.
So this is PBD. I watch a lot of his content, man. He's pretty kind of neutral for the most part, talking about different things that's going on from a business standpoint. I think he just recently sold his insurance company for like $300-400 million. And so he's kind of talking about things that's going on the business front, on the politic front. And the CEO, which I failed to mention earlier, he was actually on the show The Prophet. So that's why I kind of first saw him as The Prophet. I never watched the show, but I used to see all these commercials on The Prophet. And essentially that's what PBD, Patrick Bet David, is talking about, him being on The Prophet and having an exchange with.
A lot of good things to say here. Rob, if you want to play this clip on him reacting to what Newsom said to him, go for it.
Well, I think the thing that was really surprising to me is that I tried to articulate in a non-aggressive way exactly why our company wasn't going to reinvest capital in California. And what I found out this afternoon is that Governor Newsom has enough time to respond to a tweet as opposed to a private DM or having somebody reach out to remind everybody in America that in 2023, before we bought the intellectual property, that the company went out.
And there you go. This exactly is why I had this clip up for that 3-4 seconds. Let's rewind it.
We all know that Bed Bath went out of business a few years ago. That the company went out of business. We all know that Bed Bath went out of business. Remind everybody in America that in 2023, before we bought the intellectual property, that the company went out of business. We all know that Bed Bath went out of business a few years ago. Now we're trying to make a comeback, and I would think that a governor would want to attract.
So what did I just say? That's why I named this place, named this this actual portion of the show the cheat code, because that's what essentially rich people are doing. That's what business minds are doing. They're seeing companies who we all know their brand, we all love and know their brand, Bed Bath and Beyond. They're going out of business for one reason or another. However, they have this valuable intellectual property. They have the trademarks. So what did he say? He didn't say they bought the business. What did he say? We bought the intellectual property. And they're essentially making some difference, trying to cut out the fat, keep the good stuff, and relaunch the brand. They're not changing the brand. They're trying to relaunch the brand such that they can take advantage of having the intellectual property, the public knowing and loving the brand and still flocking to it, based on the improvements and kind of the good things that they're doing with it, and essentially making more money. And they maybe keep it forever, or they may sell it to a private equity shop or a VC shop. I'm not sure. However, like I said, I did want to bring that up because you guys can participate in this too. I'm looking at this stuff, and maybe I got a leg up because I know the IP and I can kind of search this stuff, and I kind of have a better bargaining position or a negotiation position because I know what a good patent is from a bad patent or the trademarks and all that stuff. However, you guys can do this stuff too. You guys can kind of pay attention. And then again, this is going back to what are you spending your time on, as opposed to looking at, okay, The Real Husbands, a Housewife, whatever the reality show is called, or your favorite show. Okay, maybe watch 1 hour show. Don't watch 3-4 hours a day. Look at some business stuff. What's going on in the business world, some bankruptcies, who's having a hard time. Can you try to gather a group of people up, maybe buy the IP, rebrand the company, and next thing you know, you are in a driver's seat. So that's essentially why I wanted to play that segment, because the CEO, formerly guy of the Prophet, who they recently just bought Bed Bath & Beyond. They bought the IP, I should say. They're looking to kind of relaunch things, and apparently they're not going to be in California. So unfortunately for Gavin Newsom, they won't be what's his name? I know Brandon, he's in, I think he's in Cali. So looks like you guys may not have Bed Bath & Beyond in Cali, Brandon, but it's all good. It's all good. Let's move on to the next show. Please hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm, as well as that subscribe button to be a part of the IP community. Cracker Barrel. Now, Cracker Barrel is a Michigan company, I think. And to be honest with you, we were talking about trademarks with regard to Bed Bath & Beyond and some of these other companies. I was looking at the trademark portfolio of Cracker Barrel, and they have hundreds of trademarks. So, hey, everybody want to laugh about Cracker Barrel going woke or whatever the case may be, and not a lot of people going there. They're doing just fine. And I'm going to play this video just in case a lot of people don't know what's going on with regard to Cracker Barrel and why people mad at them for going woke. Hey, Cracker Barrel is going to be just fine. They lost $94 million, and I can assure you they're going to be fine. And I'm going to tell you why they're going to be fine at the end of this thing. But let me kind of cue up that video. Please let me know what you guys have, or questions that you guys have, or comments for that matter, in the comment section, or in the chat, I should say. Man, this is probably the only time that you guys are going to be able to talk to a $400 million, almost $400 an hour attorney. So you might as well get your money's worth, as my mom would say. Kind of tee this up. Cracker Barrel. Let's see what the news has to say about it. Let me make sure. Okay, the speed is good. Let's go.
Style cooking brings family together.
Cracker Barrel is known for its comfort, from its food to its country charm. Many finding it a throwback to a simpler time. But this morning, the company making another effort to look forward, unveiling a new logo that's causing a stir for loyal fans of the beloved Southern chain, overhauling the iconic.
So look it, I never knew that the guy sitting down there, I just thought that was Grandpa, but apparently he has a name, and his name is Mr. Herschel. So I don't know what you call this barrel, but that's Mr. Herschel in a barrel. They removed Mr. Herschel in a barrel and just left Cracker Barrel, and everybody they was at arms about that. I'm not sure why, but they was at arms. Let's continue to finish or play this thing.
Logo missing Uncle Herschel.
Look, I never knew that the guy had a name, to be honest with you. I always knew the name. So let me see if I never knew that name. And I've only been a Cracker Barrel. Let me go. And I said, but is what?
And, well, the barrel. In its place,
Exactly,
a simpler, more modern design, the company says, calls back to its 1960s $1 transformation meant to bring in younger diners. But the change isn't sitting well with some diners.
This is terrible. What happened to Grandpa?
Black folks, man, they never been. I only been to Cracker Barrel like 2 or 3 times, and the only reason I went there because it was like, okay, I've seen this restaurant before, and I've been there. Hey, they got some good cheese hash browns, and they got some good cheese grits. It's not a bad place to eat, but it's not good enough to be like, hey, let's go to Cracker Barrel today. But again, if you're hungry and you're in a remote area, then you're probably going to go to Cracker Barrel. So like I said, I'm in my mid-30s, and I've been there a couple of times, but people will complain having never been there, which mind-boggling to me, but I digress. Let's go.
Or the markets. Shares of Cracker Barrel plunged 12% Thursday, shedding $94 million in market
Barely
value.
did he like
one of the company's worst single-day
Cracker Barrel
declines in years. The redesign has also included revamped interiors.
We got all new lighting, new seating, new tables and chairs.
Dark wood and busy walls
Yeah, that's the
out
old
in
style.
favor of lighter paint, clean lines, and farmhouse vibes. A move Cracker Barrel says is meant to feel lighter, brighter, and more welcoming. its CEO outlining the changes last year.
Our goal is to take what people love about Cracker Barrel and open the aperture a little bit so that more people love Cracker Barrel. So we want to appeal to all generations.
But now it's even sparking political backlash, some calling the redesign woke, drawing critics like the president's son. The company says only 30 of its 660 stores are getting the full makeover. And despite the new branding, the iconic rocking chairs and gift shops are here to stay. Saying in a statement to the AP, our values haven't changed, and Uncle Herschel remains front and center in our restaurants and on our menu. With all restaurant chains hoping to attract younger customers in a difficult economy, Cracker Barrel stirring the pot.
I go into Cracker Barrel to go from 2025 to 1914. I ain't never asked for this.
Hey, thanks for watching. And don't forget. Hey, man, and that's pretty much it. I will say that. And again, I know Brandon had talked about him liking Cracker Barrel. You have to let me know what you like about Cracker Barrel. Like I said, I love the cheese grits. I mean, the cheese hash browns. But I will say every time that I went in Cracker Barrel, it was always like grandparents and then it was like grandchildren. I never seen anybody who was like middle age. Even the times I went with my spiritual mother, and she's on a little bit of the grandparent side, even though she's maybe mid to late 50s. But I never see like just 30, 40-year-olds in there with their kids. It's more so like the grandparents and as well as like the grandkids, which are like 4 or 5 years old. So again, but I guess the whole point of saying that is the reason why I think Cracker Barrel is going to be fine because they have the intellectual property. So you heard them talk about they have over 600 stores and they're only doing 30 of these stores. So this is like a test run with Cracker Barrel. And the good thing about this is they can always go back to Uncle Herschel in a barrel because they still own those trademarks. It's almost like Twitter. We all know Twitter, or X, now formerly known as Twitter, is X now with the new logo. However, Elon Musk still owns that name Twitter. He still owns the bird, the logo of it. And anytime they want to kind of go back and kind of do whatever, go back in a day or go back in time, they can still go back to that old stuff because they own the trademarks. They own the intellectual property. And this is the importance of owning IP. Cracker Barrel's not worried. They gonna do this 30 experimental run, and if too many people complain, they're gonna go back to Uncle Herschel in a barrel, and y'all not even gonna know that they came out with the a new design. But again, the importance, the reason they can do that is because they still own the intellectual property. Just because you change your logo, maybe you change the name, whatever the case may be, you don't let the intellectual property lapse or go abandoned. You still own the intellectual property. And a lot of sports teams do this when they continue to modernize, but they will still keep the old logos or whatever the case may be, so that when they want to go to those retro jerseys or whatever the case may be, they still own the IP to be able to go back for it. Like I said, we may look up in 6 months to a year and Cracker Barrels, they go back to Mr. Herschel and his barrels. So I did want to talk about that. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Brandon, you got to let me know what you like about Cracker Barrel. Like I said, them cheese hash browns was the deal back in the day. We got a couple more things to get to before we get to the lawsuit of the week, which is a good one. We're going to go to Purple Rain, man. How many people seen Purple Rain before? I've never seen the movie, but I heard it was a good one. Obviously, we know and love Prince. Sheesh. Come on, man. What's going on? I got to do a better job at kind of teeing this stuff up. A better job at teeing this stuff up. This is kind of pissing me off. Oh, that's why, because I put the wrong what's the name in there. Here we go, man. Here we go. Technology. It works when it works and it doesn't when it doesn't. Did my stuff go I gotta get my internet better in this joint, man. Can y'all hear me? Doing a quality check, man. I don't know what's going on. Can y'all hear me? Please let me know in the chat. Brandon, let me know in the chat if you can hear me. Seems like I'm having some trouble. The browser can't access your screen. Try capturing a different screen to see if it continues. Yeah, that's going to upset me, but we're just going to go out the fly, man. This how you got to know the material. So Apollonia, which again apparently is Prince's co-star in Purple Rain. Look, the only name I know Apollonia is being a big Godfather star. Michael's first wife in Godfather was named Apollonia. But apparently Apollonia, she was his co-star. And again, I'm going to give you guys some nuggets and some jewels from this for free. So Apollonia seems like Prince, they was kind of doing their thing in Purple Rain. And Prince was like, yeah, Apollonia, you should go ahead and do movies and do music and whatever, do all this other stuff under the name Apollonia. And she's like, okay, bet. So she actually trademarked the term Apollonia 6 and got that registered. However, again, Prince's estate, they saw that and they filed to cancel her trademark with the United States Patent and Trademark Office because she didn't have the rights to that. And then they filed for trademark protection of Apollonia. And it's been this whole back and forth. But I did this breakdown on this one. So definitely go check out that full breakdown. But you guys have to understand the difference between what the contract says and what somebody is telling you. Because I would imagine that Prince is saying, hey, it's almost like The Rock. I don't know who owns The Rock, but I would have bet your bottom dollar that at some point WWE owned The Rock. However, the name, The Rock, that character, Dwayne Johnson was able to go to movies and use it for different things. But again, it's all, what does the paperwork say? And I can tell you, these movies, these production companies, these film companies, a lot of times when they have a character, they're going to retain ownership of the rights or the trademarks to that character. So I'm imagining that when Prince was telling Apollonia, go do your thing with the term Apollonia or the name Apollonia for different things, movies, whatever the case may be, he wasn't telling her that you own the trademark. If she would have looked at the paperwork, I bet your bottom dollar that Prince or whatever film company owned the rights to the trademark. So she thinking that she owns the trademark, wouldn't go file for trademark protection. The estate like, no, you don't own that, buddy. So again, they are pretty much, in my opinion, if I had to win, if I had to guess, they're probably going to be able to force the USPTO to have her cancel the trademark, and they're going to get awarded that trademark because they own the rights to the character Apollonia. Hopefully that makes sense. Always check the paperwork. Please, please, please check the paperwork. I had a gentleman, I was at the cigar bar. I normally go there a couple times a week. And a guy, he was telling me, Lonzo Ball, shouldn't have said the name, but not Lonzo, but Mellow Ball, his manager was in there like the day before. And the guy ran into him. My buddy ran into him. And he was telling my buddy that, obviously he found out that he manages Mellow Ball or whatever the case may be. I guess he had like the Purple Phantom or whatever outside the establishment. And he was telling my buddy that, or my buddy was telling him that his cousin has essentially a company, a device for dogs. And the Mellow boys, they like pets, they like dogs. So I guess they're going back and forth. And Mellow's manager was telling my guy, like, hey man, just have them kind of reach out to me, or y'all, let's get together so that we can kind of talk and see if Mellow want to essentially, promote the brand. So hey, look if y'all see Mellow promoting a dog brand, a dog product, y'all heard it here first. This is a kind of breaking news. But anyway, so my buddy, because his cousin got the patent and he essentially owned the patent. So I'm telling my buddy, like, I know this your cousin, y'all like brothers, but make sure that he assigns the patent to a company that y'all both own. Now y'all can have 50-50 ownership, y'all can have 70-30, 60-40, 90-10. I don't care what the ownership is, but do not just rely on somebody's word of mouth of, hey, I'm going to look out for you, or hey, you're going to also own this. Make sure the paperwork is right as well. So that's why I was telling my guy, like, hey, man, make sure your cousin, y'all got the paperwork right. He assigned the patent to the owner or to the company that y'all both co-own, and kind of, everything is everything. And the reason I'm saying that is because Apollonia, in this case, if she would have read the paperwork, I guarantee you, without knowing the paperwork, I know that a company, a film company, or Prince is not going to kind of create this film with all these characters, then have somebody else have the ability to own the characters. It typically doesn't work like that. So Apollonia, she, I guess, took that conversation with Prince to heart and said, hey, he said I can own this or I can use it now. He said you can use it. It's almost like the Temptations. Y'all know those Temptations. It's like 2 or 3 different groups of Temptations. I would bet your bottom dollar that Motown owns the trademark for Temptations, or whoever owns Motown now. However, the Temptations still can tour and use that name when they're kind of doing their thing out there. So what Brandon says, he said, hey, Purple Rain is a classic. Purple Rain. Yeah, I've never seen a movie, man. I have to check out the movie. Okay, so Brandon said he can hear me. So I don't know why, whatever reason, my stuff was tripping for a second, man. I don't know if I got to do the internet or I try to do whatever, but let's move on to the next one, man. And we won away from the lawsuit of the week. And the lawsuit is a good one. But we have to go to Subway. And I think this is something good to be able to kind of go over with you guys, because, hey, man, when y'all doing these franchises, y'all got to make sure y'all understand what y'all getting yourself into. So here we go here. So Subway, the Subway chain announces the Subjoy name change at the trademark after the trademark law. So that's essentially the title. Go check out that full video. But I'm gonna give y'all boys a highlight. I'm gonna give you the highlight. I ain't gonna long stroke y'all. Shout out to the lead attorney. I'm gonna give you guys the Cliff Notes versions or the ChatGPT version these days. So Subway, obviously we all know Subway. Hey, that chicken bacon ranch had me in a chokehold back in the day. I haven't been to Subway in a minute, but that chicken bacon ranch, that broccoli cheddar soup, man, that shit used to be good. Now I haven't been there in a while, but do they still sell $5 foot longs? I know these days it's probably like $7, $8. But so anyway, they're franchising all over the country. Really, they're franchising all over the world. It seems like they went into Russia. However, they're not dealing with like every individual franchisee in Russia. They're going to a master franchisee who is in turn working with these individual franchisees. It seems like Subway did not like the fact that Russia went into Ukraine. So this is all about politics. And this is why I'm telling y'all got to put down the BS and kind of see what's going on the political front. I know a lot of people don't like to talk politics, but that's going to affect the money. Just ask the people who I talk to every week that says how much tariffs have affected their business, particularly as a small business. So the politics affect the money, which you guys have to pay attention to, especially if you are in business. So Subway, the company, did not, or the franchisor did not like the fact that Russia went into, invaded Ukraine and started that kind of war with them. So they're saying, hey, we're going to kind of wash our hands with Russia. So all these kind of Subways that's out there, we're not renewing your agreements, and we're going to let our trademark rights lapse in Russia. So much like the U.S., when you file for trademark protection, it lasts forever. However, you have to continue to renew it, I think like every 10 years. So I think in Russia's case, that the term Subway in Russia is kind of due for renewal at the end of this year. And Russia just pretty much let everybody know in Russia that, hey, we're not renewing it. So y'all kind of off on your own at that point. And that's why the franchise, the master franchise agreement, the franchise person in Russia is saying, hey, they trademarking Sub Joy. I think they trademarked Sub Fresh, and it was another term. So they're trademarking all these terms to try to not stay in business, but such that their customers, when they see these terms, they're like, okay, yeah, this is just the old Subway that they just rebranded because Subway pulled out officially. They pulled out of the Subway name in Russia. So that's essentially what's going on in Russia. Like I said, you guys have to kind of understand what's going on a political front across the world, not even just the country, because you can be one of these franchisees that's in another country, and no franchisor can just kind of wash their hands based on the kind of political climate at that point in time. So I did want to kind of, just go over that one really quickly. And now the last segment of the week, swap meet. Now, I'm not a big swap meet person. And for those of you who don't know what a swap meet is, we're going to kind of break down the lawsuit, and it is an entertaining lawsuit. Now, typically, when somebody files for any IP infringement lawsuit, they file against the person who's committing trademark infringement. However, Louis Vuitton, they didn't go after the person who was selling knockoffs, which we have seen on this channel plenty of times. They went after the swap meet owner for contributory infringement, saying, hey, you knew that this person was selling knockoff Louis Vuitton gear and you still allowed them to do so. That's essentially what Louis Vuitton is kind of suing a swap meet owner, I think out in Las Vegas, if I stand correctly. So that's essentially in a nutshell what's happening. Let me know if you guys have been out to a swap meet. I haven't been out to a swap meet in a long time, but essentially a swap meet, man, they sell a lot of different items. You're going to sell some clothing, some purses, some jewelry, a lot of items, typically not expensive items, but they're selling it nonetheless for people kind of locally so they can come shop, kind of get stuff usually for a cheaper price compared to going to like a grocery store or retail store like a Target or a Meijer, Walmart, Costco, whatever the case may be. So that's essentially in a nutshell what it is. I mean, I probably should have pulled it up. This is a nice size of swap meet over there in Vegas. But let's kind of get to the IP, the case. And I would love to hear from you guys, your thoughts as we kind of go through this thing. So let me kind of pull this up here. This is the last section of the day. So, man, we made it, man. We had some little issues, but we still made it. See if I can pull this up here. Window. There we go. Here we go. Here we go. Lawsuit breakdown of the week. And we coming up on an hour, man. So I like to keep these things at an hour. We had a little bit of what's the name? So here we go. Let me kind of get, I'll keep that on there. So the swap meet. So this is Louis Vuitton suing Fantastic Indoor Swap Meet. Now I'm assuming that Arthur owns the swap meet. So let's go to the, do I want to hear the statement of the case? We kind of really know about Louis Vuitton, so I don't want to kind of talk about them in detail. But let's go to the defendant. Upon information and belief, the defendant, Fantastic Indoor Swap Meet, is a corporation that's organized in Nevada. Obviously, we know Louis Vuitton has all these trademarks, Louis Vuitton, the word mark, in a lot of different classes, luggage, watches, jewelry, clothing, sanitary face coverings. I guess they did that during COVID. That's crazy. And they still got knocked off like crazy. Why would you want to have a Louis Vuitton face covering? What does that mean? You can see here some other the trademarks of the logos, the LV, the famous LV, for trunks, clothing, accessories. Kind of doing it all here. The pattern they have it, so forth and so on. So let's kind of get to the swap meet's unlawful conduct. So the swap meet owns and operates, responsible for all business activities at the market. By and through their actions, the swap meet has fostered and maintained a marketplace that turns a blind eye. Let's see, I'm not sure why that cut off like that. I'm not sure why that cut off. I'm glad I looked over. Here we go. So upon information and belief, the swap meet provides all services necessary for the tenants to operate at the market, which makes sense. I would imagine, like I said, I haven't been to a swap meet in a long time, but I would imagine that before you set up a booth at a swap meet, you have to let the organizer or the owner of the swap meet know what you're selling, probably provide some samples, a website, some legitimacy, and they're going to check you off to say, okay, you're good, probably have to pay a booth fee, and that's pretty much how that goes. So among other things, the tenants at the marketplace are provided with basic requirements such as space, security, parking, maintenance of the market grounds. Upon information and belief, at all relevant times, the swap meet owner have had the right and ability to control their tenants in or use of the space supplied to the tenants. So typically Louis Vuitton would sue the tenant in this case. However, they sued the big guy. So again, for all y'all out there who looking to maybe kind of sell knockoffs at a swap meet at a farmer's market, be aware of this, because Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Fendi, whatever knockoff brands that you're trying to sell, Nike, a sports team, that corporation or organizations may still come after not only you, but they may also go after the actual swap meet owner. And now that I think about it, I think author maybe is the tenant. But let's see here. So specifically, the swap meet owner have the ultimate form of control over their tenants, means of infringement, insofar as defendants have the ability to refrain from renewing the leases of the tenants who have been engaged in the sale of counterfeit Louis Vuitton products. They can terminate the leases, and they can properly initiate an eviction proceeding against the tenants who have been engaged in the sale of counterfeit Louis Vuitton products. In short, the swap meet owner is a controlled environment where the swap meet owner governs the use of the space and how the tenants must conduct themselves. Y'all got to wait till y'all see these pictures. Despite the foregoing, the swap meets have failed to implement rules or adopt or employ practices or procedures in a good faith way that would reduce or eliminate the widespread sale of counterfeiting goods. So it seems like they're saying that the swap meet is contributing, hence contributory infringement to the infringement of the Louis Vuitton mark. While such counterfeiting activities were often upon in or obvious, on many occasions, the swap meet owner were specifically notified of the sale of the counterfeit goods taking place, and they took no action to stop it. Indeed, on numerous occasions prior to the filing of this action, Louis Vuitton notified the owner. So Louis Vuitton tried to beg and plead with the swap meet owner on this one, who were engaged in the sale of products bearing the counterfeit versions. These notifications came in the form of several detailing specific letters, i.e. cease and desist letters, as well as multiple police actions. So not only did they send cease and desist letters, Louis Vuitton sent the police to the swap meet owner saying, hey man, you know, y'all got some counterfeit Louis Vuitton apparel over there. For example, several law enforcement officers' actions have taken place at the market concerning the sale of the counterfeit LV Louis Vuitton gear as the recent of August 4th, 2023, so a couple years ago. In addition to the notice provided to the market by the law enforcement, Louis Vuitton has provided to the market essentially cease and desist letters, spanning from, damn, how long? Hey, I got to ask y'all a question. Do you guys think that the swap market owner was in on it? Do you think that the Louis Vuitton knockoff person was paying him to keep quiet? And the reason I'm saying that is because these guys were selling counterfeit stuff for 8 years, from August of 2017 until April of 2025, which I'm assuming is the date of the filing of this lawsuit. So they've been doing this not for a couple years, for about 8 years. So on August of 2017, Louis Vuitton notified the market that the products, so it's, again, essentially another cease and desist letter. This letter specifically noted that the sale of the counterfeit products at the Narcissistic booth. I guess that was the name of the booth, man. If your booth name is Narcissistic, hey, you did that shit. I don't care what you say. If your name of your booth is Narcissistic, you did whatever they saying that you did. That's a crazy name for a booth. On July of 2018, Louis Vuitton notified the market. So they kept notifying the market. Louis Vuitton notified the market of the. So look, this is what they were selling. They were selling jewels. I'm not sure what a Mata 99 cents is, but Northerly Law Enforcement, yada, yada, yada. They're selling all type of shit. So this is some of the stuff that they were selling. Hats. They were selling the face coverings. If you wanted something for your baby, you can get some your baby a Louis Vuitton hookup. Another, I think, baby Louis Vuitton gear. Louis Vuitton purse, which you also see in the left-hand corner. I'm not sure what this is. Some Louis Vuitton wallets, it looks like. A bracelet. Some more face coverings. If you had some slippers, some Louis Vuitton slippers, I'm going to tell you, Louis Vuitton charm, a necklace they were selling at the booth. Some belts. This one, you know, you probably buying some fake stuff. Do y'all see what that is? Let me know in the chat if y'all know what that is. Let me know in the chat if y'all know what that is. This looks like a, what is it, a clip? What the young people call a Duramax Speed. If you're selling Louis Vuitton gun accessories, you're probably selling some fake stuff. But not only that, how does that, I got to put it on myself for a second. How do you kind of like, what's the use? I understand if you got a hat or a shirt, you out, you may be at the game, you at an event with your lady or your guy, and you're like, look, man, I got this Louis Vuitton on in this suite. Like, are you going to your guys like, hey man, look at this Louis Vuitton banana clip that I just bought. I don't know what's the use of buying a gun holster, number one. And then number two, is it even safe? Because I'm assuming if it's knockoff, the quality is cheap. And if you're kind of trying to have a firearm that has bullets, that's, I don't know, man. It seems like a whole lot going on. And maybe I'm wrong, but you guys have to let me know again as I pull it back up. Is this a Louis Vuitton gun clip? It says Duramax Speed. I don't own a clip myself or an automatic weapon, but is this an automatic weapon? You guys have to let me know in the comments or in the chat, because I don't know. It looks like it. I'm assuming that's what Duramax Speed is. What does it say? It's kind of hard to read the rest of it, but it looks like a Louis Vuitton clip, which I think is crazy. Some more Louis Vuitton clothes. I'm not sure what this is. Looks like a, what's the name? Louis Vuitton socks, another chain, face covering. Despite both law enforcement and Louis Vuitton informing the defendant, such activities have continued unabated. Based on the foregoing, the swap meet owner had actual and constructive knowledge that his tenant sold or offered for sale a substantial number of counterfeit products. Moreover, the swap meet owner had actual and constructive knowledge that the Louis Vuitton had never authorized the tenants or anyone at the market to sell these counterfeit products. Nevertheless, the swap meet owner allowed counterfeiting to occur at the market on a massive scale. Despite Louis Vuitton, they were doing this for 8 years, y'all. Despite numerous warnings that their tenants sold or offered for sale counterfeit products, the swap meet owner failed to do anything about it to curb it. Moreover, the swap meet owner have been aware of it, materially contributed to, and obtained a financial benefit from the sale of the merchandise being the counterfeits of intellectual property at the market. The swap meet owner reaped substantial financial benefits. Hey, look, the owner was in on it, if you ask me. For 8 years, law enforcement and the swap meet, then Louis Vuitton coming at you and you doing nothing about it, you in on something. So the swap meet owner reaped substantial financial benefits derived from the sale of the counterfeit items at the market, including but not limited to increased customer traffic. They telling their people, we at the, they say, hey, girl, you need to go to the swap meet. They selling Louis Vuitton face coverings, bags, shirts, And I know Ray got a gun. He can get a Louis Vuitton clip. So, you know, they had to, the market turned out. So the defendants are financially motivated to turn a blind eye to a counterfeiting of the market or to affirmatively assist in the counterfeiting and the protecting the counterfeit tenants. So by engaging in the unlawful conduct, the swap meet owner has enjoyed financial benefits arising from the sale and offer for sale of the counterfeit merchandise, including the counterfeit Louis Vuitton products. Under the circumstances, the swap meet owner has an obligation to take all steps necessary, and if failed to do so, the action of the swap meet owner as described herein are intentional, and I would agree with that. The swap meet owner owned, operated, and managed a Nevada business at the time. And really, if I was Louis Vuitton, I would actually go to the Nevada's licensing and regulatory affairs to kind of complain to them as well. I wonder if they did that. The swap meet owner recklessly disregarded Louis Vuitton's rights and or willfully blinded themselves to permit the sale of the counterfeit merchandise and so forth and so on. I'm not going to read the contributory trademark liability, but I did because typically we have trademark infringement, you suing somebody else for infringing a trademark, but contributory infringement, and these are some of the items. Like I said, that mag got me going. So, you know, some shirts, some face covering, some socks, some Louis Vuitton socks. You can get a little bit of everything if you go down there. But I did want to kind of bring this up and kind of go over this. And when I do these lawsuits, these breakdowns week to week, I am trying to provide value. I'm trying to do a little bit of entertaining, but I'm also trying to provide value. And again, I think the big takeaway from this is just because you at a swap meet, you at a farmer's market, you somewhere with a lot of other booths. Again, I know InvestFest is going on in Atlanta this weekend. So if somebody kind of selling knockoffs at InvestFest, hey, that company, the owner of that product, can hold InvestFest liable for contributory infringement to the extent that they do nothing about it. So I do want to kind of bring that to you guys' attention to the case that somebody who's running an operation, a strip plaza, whatever the case may be, when the person, one of the booths or stores is known to have kind of fake or knockoff items and they're doing nothing about it after multiple attempts from not only law enforcement, but in this case, Louis Vuitton, to stop the person from essentially engaging in trademark infringement. So again, they ultimately hit the swap meet owner on the risk for trademark infringement. And I would imagine at some point, or he's going to learn his lesson, or he or she is going to learn his lesson and never do this again. So again, let me know what you guys think. That was pretty much it as far as the lawsuit breakdown, man. We coming up on an hour here. We had a good old time here. Let me know if you have any questions before I close this thing out. I do want to stress, make sure you are protecting your intellectual property. This stuff is extremely valuable, as all the stories that we talked to, from Subway to Cracker Barrel to Bed Bath & Beyond to the Buy It Now pitches to the interview of the week. This stuff is extremely valuable. We are trying to get out of this rat race, man. And to the extent that you're trying to do that by creating a business, whether it's a physical product or a digital product, you most likely are going to have intellectual property, whether it's that recipe that you can protect via a trade secret. Maybe you have the logo or the name of the company, which you can protect via a trademark. Maybe you got a product or a method that you can protect via a patent, or maybe you have some pictures or a book or whatever the case may be that you can protect via some copyrights. You need to make sure you're protecting that intellectual property to give your business the best chance of not only standing apart, but kind of just protecting and keeping others from trying to kind of sell a similar product or try to knock off your product. So kind of that's all I have for you guys today, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Please hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It seems like we had a couple people here. So again, we'll continue to grow this thing. So this was exciting. Please hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Hit that subscribe button to be a part of the IP community. Hey, say congratulations to your boy, man. Voted 2026 best lawyers in America. One up and coming. So yeah, man, your boy's still riding that high. I'm going to go have me a cigar. Try to get a little bit more work done. Seems like we have one comment before we get up out of this thing. Hey, man, I appreciate that, Brandon. Congratulations, man. I appreciate that. This is a big honor, and it's just the beginning for me. What else did Brandon says? He's definitely Louis Vuitton. Hey, typically Louis Vuitton is suing the person who's committing the knockoffs, but it seems like in that case, the swap meet owner, they, in my opinion, was in it with Louis Vuitton. So I would imagine that they sued not only that knockoff person, but also Louis Vuitton, the swap meet owner as well. And to the extent that you got a booth, please don't call it the narcissistic booth, because whatever you did, if you got a booth named narcissistic, You did that shit. Whatever they say that you did that shit. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. I'll catch you guys next week. Guys, take care. Peace.